his fourth-floor apartment instead of her third-floor apartment. It says she tried to use an electronic key to open the door, but it was already open. She walked inside and told investigators it was totally dark when she noticed a large silhouette. Geiger says she thought John was a burglar and shot him after he ignored her commands. It wasn't until a 911 operator asked for her location that she says she noticed she was in the wrong apartment. So with me now is John's family attorney, S. Lee Merritt. So, Mr. Merritt, thank you so much for being with me. Of course, our condolences to the family.
I'll pass those along, Brooke. Thank you for having me.
I know that you and this family do not accept the official account from the arrest documents from police. You tell me why, and how do you explain how this officer ended up in a home that wasn't hers?
Much of the affidavit just simply doesn't comport with common sense. The latter part of your question, how do I explain what happened? Unfortunately, I can't. Typically, I have some sort of theory of what happened in this case. Here, I have no idea. I do know that certain statements within this affidavit are demonstratively false. For example, that door being ajar, those doors close automatically unless Botham propped it open because he was expecting a guest or something, and I'm not making up excuses. It wouldn't have been open. And so what the family knows, what all the friends know, what everyone I've talked to about Botham knows, is that he wouldn't have propped that door open. He's a very meticulous accountant. Somebody who's intentional in everything that they do. He doesn't prop doors open when they're expecting guests. And I've spoken to people who were interacting with him minutes before this happened. He wasn't expecting any guests. And so what actually happened is still a big mystery, but I know that what's stated in this affidavit is simply untrue.
You said you had a theory as to why she ended up in the wrong apartment. What's your theory?
No. I said typically I would have a theory.
Oh, and you don't have a theory in this case.
I have no theory here.
I got you. I understand after all this happened, two witnesses, and you tell me, I believe the two witnesses went separately, came forward saying that they did hear something. Is that correct? Can you tell me what those witnesses said?
Yeah, so the two witnesses are actually roommates, and one was in the living room, the other one was in her bedroom. One was in the living room watching television, the other in her bedroom. They both heard a knock or a pounding on the door. The one who was closer to the scene in her bedroom reading a book, she heard pounding followed by a female's voice saying, "Open up, let me in." She said the voice didn't sound like an officer command, but sounded like someone who wanted to be let into the apartment. She said that was shortly followed by the sound of gunshots and the sound of a man's voice saying what she believed to be, "Oh my God, why did you do that?" Again, I have a difficult time figuring out how those facts play into what we know. But I know that if a door is locked, there's no one pounding on it. I'm sorry, if a door is open, there's no one pounding.
There wouldn't be anyone pounding on it to let them in. Why do you know? Did this officer and Mr. John, did they know each other?
No one that I know who has a personal relationship with both of them can connect these two in any meaningful way. The only connection that we have been able to make is she is his immediate downstairs neighbor. And there were noise complaints from the immediate downstairs neighbors about whoever was upstairs, and that would have been Botham. In fact, there was a noise complaint that very day about upstairs activity in Botham's apartment. Botham received a phone call about noise coming from his apartment from the downstairs neighbor.
I see. And just lastly, as I just wanted to read part of the statement from the Dallas DA spokesperson. It's important to maintain the integrity of the case. Once all the evidence is presented, it will go to the grand jury. No timeline estimate on how that goes forward. Ongoing investigation. Case will be thoroughly investigated. S. Lee Merritt, appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.